Better You Project for women leaders, emerging women leaders. Every Tuesday at noon, we're here to talk about topics that are of interest to emerging women leaders. And today we are talking about preparing to attend Michelle Obama's to Atlanta. And so I'll be able to go there this weekend. And so I personally hosted two separate book clubs, one in, I think it was December, and another or a couple months later. And here it is in May. And I tell you what, I am pumped up and ready to go to her book tour. The book itself, Becoming, is, I actually got the large print. Of course, you can get this thing on ebook or audio, but this was the reading guide, right? And so this was put together by her publisher, and it just helps you to go through the book. I think it's acting as like reading prompts, which is pretty good. Same kind of thing I'm doing with my own book club, providing reading prompts. But this right here, I want to just go through some notes I took along the way and just share those with you. You know, this story, her story, really, I was like, man, she's telling my story. She's talking about things of historical nature that occurred as she was a young girl on the south side of Chicago. She's a few years older than I am. However, those same or similar events or circumstances were occurring in Mississippi when I was a young girl, right? If you just look at history. And she talks us through those circumstances and how she handled it. She also talked us all the way through, and the book is broken up into becoming me, becoming us, becoming more, right? And so I love the way she laid the chapters out. I also love the fact that I have to pick up my dictionary to read this thing. So she wasn't talking down. She was talking up. She wants us to elevate our game, right? To become more of who we are, to understand from more than our own contextual perspective how things might impact and affect others as we walk through history. Oh, I love it. I loved it. And so one of the things I really admire about the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, is that in the sight of controversy and people talking mean to her, about her, talking about her kids, her husband, trying to tear her down, she's just like, I love it. Now she go and cry, scream, cussing folks out behind closed doors, right? But standing in front of everybody else, standing tall and understanding not only who she is, but whose she is. She's a Christian, right? So that's another reason I admire her so, that she's like, whatever, I got this. You are simply born to be put in the dirt just as I am, right? Dust to dust. And we all gonna do that. So how in the world, that's what I so love. How in the world do you think that you have the capability to push me down? Boop. I love her. So one of the things, and I want to go through my notes. You got any, what was your overall impression of the book? If you read it, if you did not read it, you understand that she broke so many records just by publishing the book. Like, it's amazing. So I love it. And myself being an author, the Bronco Strong book on Amazon right now, I can only aspire to be a tenth of the author she is. So I admire her that way. So we're talking today, this is the Better You Project for emerging women leaders. And of course, every Tuesday at noon, we're here. Today we're talking about book tour that Michelle Obama is on, and I'll be attending that this Saturday, this weekend. Just some lessons. So one of the things I remember her talking about, failure is a feeling long before it's an actual result. Now, we've all encountered those same types of experiences where, we're anxious about how something might turn out. We're anxious about whether or not we are good enough to do a certain thing, to write a book, to attend a certain school, to show up at a certain event, to whatever it is, progress to the next level in your job. And so she talks about that failure is a feeling long before it's an actual result. And most of the time, myself personally, what I found is the anxiety of thinking about it is worse than the actual revelation, right? So the bottom line is, keep moving forward. One of the things that she mentioned was her guidance counselor, who told her she didn't think, the guidance counselor didn't think that Michelle Obama was Princeton material. Now, her brother, Craig, had already been admitted, and, she loved her brother. She was just going to follow him on over there. Like, she's making A's in school, and the college counselor tells her that she's not Princeton material. So Michelle Obama, what I learned from that whole circumstance, she didn't go and put her finger in the lady's face and, all that foolishness. She went to a community of people who knew her for real, because that counselor did not. And they, helped her with the letter and helped her prepare and all that kind of thing. And then she did not, when she got the letter that she was actually admitted to Princeton, she didn't go back to the lady and, thumb her nose up or say something inappropriate or disrespectful. She just went on. I'm sure that lady knows it now, right? So that's a whole different can of worms. It is to know who you are, to know what you want, and to move forward. So I often go back to this passage, right? I'm like, if a lady can tell Michelle Obama she's not Princeton material, I ain't worried about none of these folks, because Michelle Obama is the first lady of the United States of America. Shut your big old mouth. So anyway, learn what to say to people. That's the other thing I learned, right? Don't project your foolishness onto other people. The other thing is life is short and not to be wasted. When she lost her dad and also her closest friend from one of the college, her closest friend, it hit her just like it hits most of us when we have, some kind of close family or a friend to pass away. It hits us, right? That, wait a minute. It's not a rehearsal. It's a journey, right? We only get one shot at this life, right? And so that's when she quit her job. And because all that time she had been striving to be a lawyer, striving to be what others thought she should be, right? She talks about in the book when she was small and said, what you going to be? A lawyer. So she answered that question. The feedback she received from others was like, oh, okay, that's good. That's a good thing to pursue. But then she didn't like it. She didn't like being a lawyer. So after her father passed and her close friend passed, she was like, I got to do something I like to do. And that was, she just knew she had more to offer to the world. And thank God she did, right? So she had been raised to be confident, to see no limits, to believe she could go after anything she wanted. She was raised to believe that. And so her parents did a phenomenal job of helping her to always be determined. I don't know if you all recall the story when she was like 5 and she misspelled a word. She obsessed over it. It's like 5 years old, obsessed over missing that word. Went back to school and requested that she be allowed to do it again. She did. She got the word right. And she was like, now I know I could do this. So just always being determined. And by the way, she advocated for herself, and her mom supported her. Her mom was very active in the school, right? And so that was pretty cool. I love that. The clothes. Ooh, wait. And the first lady, she could dress, right? And I love the fact that when President Obama was elected, I had to go to all those different balls. And Michelle Obama chose, I think it was Jason Wu, to make her gown. So some unknown, obscure guy, right? She chose him, elevated his platform tremendously, just to always reach out to others. And so that's the lesson I learned from that, is to collaborate with others. Pull people along. You get yourself in a place where you can help other people, put them along. so she's just like all in there, helping others, collaborating, bringing people up. One of the other things I really remember was when she brought to light the the food, the menu that our children were eating in the public schools. All that sugar, the pop machines, all that kind of stuff. She got that stuff out of there. And there was so much pushback. And I was thinking, they're only pushing back on her because it's her, because they know it makes sense. And then who was supporting that? All of those companies that were making money off of our kids getting fat, right? And jacked up on sugar. All those people making money off those products. Whew. So she did that. So that whole thing of her with that garden project, it was more than a campaign for her. It was a mission, because she had her own young kids. And in the inside of the book, it also talks about when she took her youngest daughter to the doctor. And the doctor says, hey, you need to slow down. Give her more vegetables and that type of thing. It was because she, like everybody else, had a whole bunch of things going on in her life, right? They were campaigning, so she was away from home a lot and just trying to make sure the kid gets something to eat. Let me go by the fast food place. We all do that, right? And so the things that she did, we were doing. But I really love that whole garden. So she basically had to convince the people, the powers that be, to allow her to mess up the White House lawn, give her a portion of that to plant a garden. And then she would bring the local kids in, and they would their own gardens in their own local areas. So think about the impact of that. I love that. I love the fact that she is a rule breaker, much like you and I. Remember when I think it was 2015, when the Supreme Court issued a decision that same-sex couples had the right to marry in all 50 states. So, she was in the White House. They were on lockdown, right? They couldn't just go and come. They always have to have Secret Service with them. They have to have like the big old whole bunch of cars when they go somewhere. Somebody got to make sure clothes are right, all that kind of stuff. So she and her oldest daughter actually ventured outside the White House without telling people, right? In the book, it talks about that, which is so cool. She was looking at the crowds. It was crowds of people gathering at the White House, and they had painted the White House, I guess, the rainbow colors. And so she and her daughter actually snuck outside, went on out there, and they were able to, they didn't mingle with the people, but they were out there actually outside. That was a big deal for the nation. It was a big deal for her. So she was just, said she was desperate to join the conversation or desperate to join the celebration. And so she just grabbed Malia, and they just took a break for it. They went for it. I love that. I love that. And also inside of the book, it talks about how she was really ambivalent about her husband running for president because she didn't really think he would. Now, as two separate things, what I thought was very fascinating, of course, she has all of the confidence in him as an individual. She just knowing how she grew up and how people in our country see and treat people of color. And she was thinking, oh, my God, this kind man, smart man, yes. Hardworking man, yes. But Lord have mercy. She really didn't want anything to happen to him and didn't want his spirit to be broken. Then she saw that he had a good team around him, and so she got on board, right? I thought that was pretty cool. First that he was asking, hey, you want me to do this or not? And she was like, please, I want you to be at home. You're a husband. I got these two kids to raise. Who's going to help me with that? I think she's like a real person. I love that. Her revealing the miscarriage she had prior to the two daughters being born, I think will help a lot of people, right? Because people don't talk about those types of things, the depression that goes with that, and the need to be a mother. Everybody doesn't have that need, but the people who have the need, it is real, and they might feel broken. They might feel like a failure, feel like they're missing something, right? And so she helped, I think, at least for some, to eliminate a stigma of talking about miscarriages and what that might look like. And more people than we know lose babies at certain turns, and then babies are even born and we lose the babies, and that is heartbreaking. So she brought attention to that, which I loved. One of the things that she also brought attention to is the fact that she thinks that Trump President Trump intentionally brought harm to her family, and she's never going to forgive him for that. I'm with her on that. He's a bully, and that's put in the book, and it is. If you don't know that, then I don't know what you know. If you don't know that Trump is a bully, I don't know what you know. But in the book, she does mention that, and I really appreciate her doing it. I think it's brave of her to do it. I love it. I thought it was interesting also when she was a young girl, when her cousin asked her why she was talking white. And throughout her life, people have been asking her and her husband, do you fit in this box or this box? And her husband being having a black father and a white mother. And so she helped us to see how that innocent or whatever, I think the cousin was trying to be mean and that kind of stuff. That question of why are you talking white? Basically, it goes back to being accepted, right? And expectations. It also goes to people projecting whatever their failures or where they might not be onto you. Yeah. Hey, pat that stuff right back to them. It don't belong to you. You act however you want to. She also talked briefly, not maybe in this book, but about code switching, which is a conversation in itself. So right now, this is the Better You project, right? And what we're talking about is Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, preparing to attend her intimate conversation, the book tour this Saturday. And I just want to go over some of my notes with you, and I'm just looking for you to put some comments in below of what you thought of the book itself, or if you will be at one of the tours, if you've attended that, or just lay it on out there about what you think of Michelle Obama. I want to just pause for a second and just share this with you. I'm going to take my glasses off. Now, if you come for me, and I have not asked you to come for me, meaning if you put some mean-spirited foolishness in the comments, then I'm just going to tell you that, one, I might just ignore it, or two, I might just right back at you. So it's up to you. So if you got some mean-spirited foolishness that you want to share with me, I'm going to tell you right now, unapologetically, I love Michelle Obama. I love what she stands for. I love her confidence. I love her arms, how hard she works. I love the way she takes care of her kids. I love the way that she loves her husband. I love that she is intelligent. I love that she is positive. I love that she can dance. I love that she is Michelle Obama. So don't come for me unless I call you. Right, let's go. So let's keep on right here. So I think it's pretty cool also, for her, when she left her job so she could help her husband become president. I just know that for her, she was very clear on the type of marriage she wanted to have with him, right? I thought that was so phenomenal, but guess what? She had to do what she had to do at that point. So when she was on those political campaigns, doing her own thing, going to talk, most of the time she was more popular than him. And then when she stepped on it, got in trouble, not put a foot in her mouth, then the campaign was like, hey, you can't say that. And she was like, you never even helped me. You didn't provide me speaker notes. Nobody ever looked at my notes. So give me the team if you want me to carry this thing on through. So they did. They gave her a team, professionals, just as they had for the president, right? He was a candidate at the time. So I love the fact that she spoke up for herself and that she was always trying to make herself better, right? I also love the fact that she surrounded herself with other positive women, black, white, Hispanic, all that, whatever. She surrounds herself with other like-minded women, go-getters, leaders, eager to do the right thing. I just love me some her, right? So she was a straight-A student, south side of Chicago, was able to get into, with her mom's help, right? Was able to get into a prestigious high school, had to take 2 or 3 buses to get there, took all day for just a commute to get to the school and back, got herself into Princeton and became, a lawyer. She didn't even like that job, right? So anyway, so put your comments below of where we are. What are you thinking right now? Anything? I'm gonna pause for a second. Comments below. So a few other lessons that I learned was, even if you think it's out of reach, go for it. So she tested into one of the city's most prestigious high schools. She was surrounded by Jack and Jill kids. They were international travelers. This is before they could even drive, right? So the school sponsored a trip to Paris, and she automatically assumed that she couldn't, she wasn't able to go. Her parents were sacrificing everything as, the bus fare for her to get to school. So she learned about the school trip. She asked, her parents actually asked her, hey, why didn't you mention the trip to us? And she was like, because it's too much money. And she was shocked because really her mama laid into her. She was shocked by her parents, so it wasn't for her to decide, right? It wasn't for her to decide. And shortly afterwards, she was on a plane to France. So the bottom line is reach out for what you want. You might just get it, right? And I love that our parents, they just sacrifice for their kid. I love that. Love it. Love, Miss Robinson. So sitting in a position of authority doesn't make a person right. Really? We do that, right? So sitting in a position of authority doesn't make a person right. This is the whole thing about the guidance counselor making a snap judgment that Mrs. Obama wasn't Princeton material. The good news is that Michelle Obama didn't take her word as gospel, because she had a solid foundation, because she had a mom in her ear telling her who she was, not this lady, right? That's powerful all by itself. She had her mom in her ear, and her father in her ear, and her brother in her ear. So a solid foundation of people who had already validated her. So this guidance counselor's comment was like, what? Who are you talking to? I love that. And then the other thing that I noticed, someone having a head start doesn't mean they're smarter than you. Somebody who's having a head start, that don't mean anything, right? So when she got to Princeton, and of course she looked around, it was very white and very male. When she was in a classroom, she wouldn't speak up initially because she was like, maybe I don't know enough. This is like a lot of effort, maybe they know more. And then she just started, testing it, throwing things out there. And then she realized what she was saying was adding value, right? So they've had a head start. So what? They wasn't smarter than her. That was so cool. So I liked the book because it allowed us to see that simply because they were emboldened, they were floating on some ancient tide of superiority, buoyed by the fact that history had never told them anything different. So they were acting that way, the other people in the classroom, because it's what they thought they were supposed to do. And so she just had to test the water. So that's for you too, right now. That's for you. Just listen, come back to me. If you're doing something else, if you multitasking, come back to me. I want you to know, it's just because somebody else had a head start, they don't mean that they're smarter than you. Get in there and do what you need to do, right? Speak up. And let's see. Sometimes you can start a business without even realizing it. So, so at its core, building a business is just fulfilling a need. Remember when she was in school, she started babysitting, and then she found herself running a whole child care system, right? Child care center. The child care center catered to professionals. So what you can do is keep your eye out for opportunities for innovation, and you go for it. You never know what's going to appear. So let's follow Michelle Obama's example. And then, what is that? You don't have to go broke to make a difference. All those school loans, right? Hating what you're doing. Do something different. You don't have to go broke making a difference. You can do something at a different level. And then worrying about others' opinions could cost you your soulmate. So really, this is goes to the fact of her and Barack Obama when they first met, and they were working in a setting where they should not have been dating or whatever. They did it anyway. Thank God that ice cream and that first kiss worked out, right? And then, let's see. Oh, a busy man can still make time for you. So imagine that. We're talking Barack Obama with all of the things he had on his plate, going back and forth between, college and coming back to see her. And then when they were married, same thing, when he would go to, I think it was a congressman, state senator, whatever it was, state senator, I think. So he would come back and forth to home, right? So he could make time for his family or lover or kissy poo or boo, whatever it is. So that was pretty cool. And then she says, let's see. I just have a few more things. Play out all of the possibilities when making a decision. And this just goes back to when her husband was considering a presidential run. She basically was like, he's never going to win, but let's just play this whole thing out, the scenario. Not just passively giving him permission to run, taking that risk. You want to make sure you're prepared for it, and she did. She made sure she was prepared for every outcome, whether he lost or won. Of course, he won twice. I love that. So play out possibilities when making a decision. If he's asking you the question, then come up with some pros and cons and how that might impact you, their family, your family, and you all's relationship. And for them, as I learned from Michelle Obama, she thought how it would impact the nation and the world. And she called that thing right. And it's okay to admit you need help. She says, there's no handbook for first ladies of the United States. And she was overwhelmed at some points in her life. One of the things that I really admire was that she asked her mom to help. And I was like, nope. Then she got her brother to ask her mom. And then, of course, as the story goes, her mom moved into the White House and took care of the kids. So think about that. I mean, of course, they could have had all kind of people taking care of the kids, but who better to take care of your kids than your mom, right? Someone who disciplined you. That's so cool. So there you go. We have a lot to do over the next day, week, month, year. Because you and I, right, we have people depending on us to provide value every day. We as emerging women leaders. And so pick up a book and learn from those books. Find out what resonates with you. And then how you can use those lessons in your life. I'm going to invite you. I'm Angela Odom, the founder and CEO of the Better You Project, LLC. Every Tuesday at noon, on Angela Odom Facebook business page, we go live here and talk about different topics that relate to women leaders. And let me just tell you, we're all leaders. You're leading something. Someone's looking up to you. You're a role model. Someone's looking at the way you stand, the way you walk. Someone is looking at the way you make decisions. Someone is looking for you to advocate for them. Someone is saying, oh, you did this, so maybe I can. I want you to know, yes, you are a leader. Whether you identify as one or not, you are. Let's just get that off the table. So I want you to join me in the Better You community for women leaders. And so you just go to angelaodom.com/community. And you're going to put your name and email address in there. Yeah, I'm probably going to send you some stuff. Okay. But then drop down in there, and it's not on Facebook. Spoiler alert. It's not on Facebook. So go into angelaodom.com/community and join us inside of there to take this discussion further. Okay, with that said, I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at noon. And I'm rooting for you. Take care.